Well, the one person who was waiting just left, so I mean,
We're good. We're back in this. Hey, what's going on? This is the Nick's State of Mind podcast. It seems like everything's working now. Thank you to the internet gods because I was getting stressed out over here. But Infinite, how's everything with you, bro?
it's good. You know what? Knicks recently won, so it's good. We in a good mood right now.
Yeah, and we're up against the trade deadline. That's March 25th, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep. Next
Yeah,
Thursday.
that's next Thursday. So we have a few more days to go. So we're going to be talking about some trades. We're also going to be talking about Mitchell Robinson and Derrick Rose and their impending return. Uh, Inf, have you heard the news? Mitchell Robinson is causing quite a stir. He was on Twitter saying that he feels good and he should be ready to be back.
Listen, Mitchell Robinson, he's always chatting. Like he always got something to say. Shout out Orange Tears. What's good?
Hey, Freezy.
Mitch, he's known for his Twitter fingers, and I feel like it's probably spurred on by all the Andre Drummond rumors and the rumors that Knicks are surrounded with other centers. So I feel like he's just trying to make sure that he ain't losing his team.
Yeah, shout out to Lawrence Tish. Shout out to the Knicks at Night podcast. I am the reigning debate champion. So shout out to Freezy. Thank you for pulling up to the live stream. Definitely appreciate it. And you are making some good points there, Inf, when it comes to Mitch, and maybe he's hearing some of these rumors and thinking he has to come and show everybody that this is still his spot. But we could definitely use him. Right now we're playing Taj Gibson, in my opinion, too many minutes. Taj Gibson should be averaging right around 0. So once we get Mitchell Robinson back, once we get Mitch back, that can be a reality once again. We'll put Nerlens Noel back to his backup center position, which I think is best for him. He has some issues with his knee, which is with his issues with his back. So let him play 20, 25 minutes as opposed to 30 some odd minutes as he's been doing since Mitchell Robinson's been out. But also Derrick Rose is potentially coming back as well. He was with the team Thursday.
Well, in the shout out Dritmore. What's good? Young Saint said that the injury report said D Rose isn't coming back for tomorrow, but Mitch is questioned.
All right, that sucks because it would have been nice to have D Rose back. Have a legit point guard that's gonna orchestrate some of the offense out there. But as long as he's able to get through what he's getting through and be able to come back and focus on the Knicks, he can take as much time as he needs. But Mitchell Robinson, I think, would be a great addition back to this team.
Well, Mitch, I mean, I was more excited for like D Rose to come back because I feel like his impact would be much more, immediate. Just because, like I mentioned, like it hasn't felt like we've been missing Mitch. Like, and no offense, Mitch, he's good. It just hasn't felt like we've been missing him the way that we've clearly been missing D Rose. Seeing Frank Ntilikina on the floor is just weird. Yes, in the last game, he made some clutch buckets. He was hitting threes. He was doing good. But I'm never the one to give player props off of one good game out of 30 bad ones. So we're clearly missing Rose much more than we're missing Robinson.
Yeah, but I like where you touched on the point where you were like, Mitch could potentially, be fearing being traded. Oh, shout out to Lawrence Tears for the super chat. He said, "If you got to talk more."
Anytime I talk, people say I'm hating, and I'm a Knicks fan. I like this team, so I just want what's best for
us. I don't think everybody says you're hating. If they just, I think it's a good difference of opinion for me. I guess I'm a little bit more glass half full, as opposed to your glass somewhat empty.
But with certain plays, it's full to me. Like I'm a what was your last question though?
We were talking about Mitch. I did a realistic rebuild, and I think I traded Mitch. And I think some of the people that watched it, they were kind of on the fence. Some people think that Mitch is not a piece that we wouldn't be able to replace. And I think I saw a lot of that in the comments. So you mentioned it a little bit earlier just now too, right? You said you didn't see much of a drop off in between what we were seeing with Nerlens Noel and what we see with Mitch in the starting lineup.
Yeah, like they're the same. And if we can pay Nerlens much less than we would pay Mitch, I'm here for it, because Mitch, you can tell just by the way that he talks, the way that his attitude is, like he, in his mind, thinks like he demands max money or something close to that, which I'm not paying Mitch anywhere close to a max to keep him.
Yeah, I think Mitch is going to have to develop a lot more offensively if we're going to start talking, big money re-signings when it comes to him. I think in the last video we were talking about Jackson Hayes. He's a player that if we were able to swing a deal for Alonzo, if we would be able to get a Jackson Hayes, I think that would be a player that would give us a little bit more leverage as Mitch comes to free agency later on. And then, Jackson Hayes being there in the wings, we can be like, hey, Mitch, this is what we can offer you. And if not, we have a pretty decent plan B.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we finally put ourselves in that exact position where if he wants to, be big and talk with his chest like, oh, blah, 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 yeah, need me. We're like, well, actually, we don't need you. I mean, this is our record without you. We are clearly positive. We're now a playoff team. So this is the money you gonna get to stay here. If you don't want this, we trading you to the Kings or something,
I mean, there have been some mock trades where he's either been sent to the Kings, he's been sent to the Pacers, because this is my favorite time of the year. I like to see a lot of these deadline deals. I like to see a lot of moves and see how creative some of these front offices can be right around this time. So Mitch, I think, would fetch a decent price. And I think it would be in his best interest to come back as quickly as possible so he can remind a lot of the fans that, hey, this is still my starting center position. And I know Nerlens Noel has been good defensively in replacing Mitchell Robinson, but I think Mitchell Robinson catches they both don't catch great, but Mitchell Robinson, I think, has some slightly better hands than Nerlens Noel. And yeah. I think Mitch's ceiling offensively is going to be higher than Nerlens Noel. So if Mitch can come back, get into the flow, and start developing that offensive side of his game, I think he can kind of squash some of these rumors we might be hearing about bringing in more offensive-minded centers.
I mean, honestly, I don't think Mitch has a high ceiling when it comes to offensively. Like, I feel like his movement and stuff is too awkward. Like, he doesn't have a post game. He has no footwork. He's more of just, he'll catch a lob, or like he doesn't even have a hook shot. Like, he doesn't have moves offensively, and he's just too awkward with the ball on offense. If he doesn't have a clear cut to the basket, like, he's not going to score. He's not somebody who I'm like, I put the ball in his hands down in the post, he's going to make it happen. Like, I don't trust that. Whereas if you give it to Nerlens, he has that very close to the basket little hook shot, that little turnaround, and he has like a tiny bit of footwork. So I don't know.
Yeah. Even when Nerlens Noel tries to really shoot, though, I kind of get nervous. I'm like, oh, is that he's right under the basket, but it's like, can we get a better shot? Which is kind of crazy to even think of. But just want to say shout out to a few people in the chat. Rondo Glow, what's up? Thank you for pulling up and supporting the channel. Frank Matos, he's saying, get me Lonzo. Definitely, we're going to talk about Lonzo. Robert Parr is saying salute to you.
Yeah, Robert Parr.
John from Atlanta, what's going on? Thank you for pulling up. Chat, let us know some trades you would like to see, not only for us to discuss right now, but also to create some realistic rebuilds. Like we said at the beginning of the show, the trade deadline is the 25th. So there's some time between now and then for me to work on some trades to present to you guys. So let me know your thoughts in the chat.
Also, shout out to Park Ave 80. Shout out After High School Show. Inf, leave Mitch alone. Listen, man. You cannot sit here and tell me that if we would have had Mitch in any of the games that we lost, we would have won them. Like, you're not going to tell me that. We have not missed Mitch. We've won plenty of games without him. We've won every game that we were supposed to win. We won them without Mitch. I'm just saying, if we can get something valuable for him, I'm here for it. If we could get Lonzo, which it seems like almost half the Knicks fans in general, like even outside of just our call, anytime I talk to my friends, the player that everybody wants is either Lonzo or Oladipo. But more closer to Lonzo just because affordability.
Who's saying Oladipo? I'm gonna have a chat with
I have a couple friends saying Oladipo because they feel like he would fit into our starting lineup perfectly, like taking out what's his name, Bullock, and I'm just like, Oladipo ain't what his money is. Like, if he was half of his contract, sure, but to have him as like a star piece, nah, he had one good season with the Pacers, and that was it.
Yeah, my biggest beef with Oladipo isn't necessarily his fit. It's just with his injury history, with the injury concerns. I don't know if I want to trade assets and then also sign him. So that's been my biggest hold up when it comes to Oladipo. Like in the beginning of the season, I was right in line with your friends thinking I had made some trades to kind of bring in Oladipo and have him slide in our starting lineup. But once I started to hear at that point it was the Pacers, what they wanted for him. And now after hearing what the Houston Rockets might want for him, I'm kind of like, if that's the avenue the Knicks want to take, then do that in free agency when all it's going to cost us is some cap space. But to trade for him, I think would be ill-advised because I feel he does fit in with the team. It's just those injury concerns.
Yeah. I mean, you know me, I'll shy away from any player that I know is injury prone. So when I started hearing rumors about Zach LaVine, I'm just like,
DK, you loved you some Amari though.
I mean, because Amari put the Knicks back on the map, and no one can say otherwise. If it wasn't for Amari, we probably still wouldn't have been seeing the playoffs. Like, Amari came here and changed New York. People started saying New York was back when Amari signed, so he was the only superstar to do it. And then after that, that's when people wanted to jump on the bandwagon. But before that, nah. So Amari's a real one.
Well, could you say you feel the same way about Randall, since Randall's pretty much putting us back on the map?
Well, yeah, I mean, but Randall wasn't a superstar to do it, But Randall, he did his thing. Like, he came here, everybody knew that Randall was going to sign with us. He signed with us, and he's doing his thing. Like, I see him clearly as a core piece of this team. Like, I feel like it'd be disrespectful at this point to not continue to like have him on our team.
Yeah, Samson's saying he disagrees with you. He said that paint presence wise, Mitch is better than Noel and he can catch lobs. Also, JD is saying Oladipo's cooking, but he's not sure if he's giving up much. I may not care about a future second round, even if he's a rental. You can always replace second round picks. Yeah, the Knicks have a bunch too. I think we have 3 in 2023. I think we have 2 in 2022. I think we have Utah's. We have an additional one this season. I think we have Detroit's for this upcoming draft. So yeah, we've got a gluttony of second round picks.
And then Dretmore saying sign Lonzo in the offseason, which that's also what I'm hearing a lot about. Like, people saying that Lonzo wants to play for New York, so we should just not trade for him, let his contract expire, and then just get him in the offseason.
My thing is, I say trade for him if there's word or if there's a legitimate threat that there's another team that could try to poach him and end up signing him to a long-term deal. Because if that happens, then it pretty much closes the door for any signing with the Knicks, because they'll trade for Lonzo and then they'll just give him an extension or whatever the case may be, or just re-sign him when he's a restricted free agent. That's why I would say move forward with a Lonzo deal, just if you're trying to make sure he doesn't go elsewhere. Because outside of the Clippers, even the Clippers, I don't know if the Clippers would be able to trade for him and re-sign him. So if the Clippers can't re-sign him and they're just trading him like for a rental, then we can be a little bit more comfortable knowing that the Clippers aren't going to match, and then we at least can just compete against the open market. But I would say trade if you think there's a legitimate team that's going to do a trade and re-sign.
No. I mean, the only team that I heard trying to go for Lonzo is the Clippers, who we know they don't got the money to sign him to a big deal. So it would just be a rental, and then we could just sign him in the offseason regardless. So it'll be good for us because let Lonzo get some playoff experience before we, get him on our team.
Well, the thing is, you make the Lonzo deal also so he can come play for our team and help us get into the playoffs. So it's not just wait to re-sign him. We can also benefit from him on this team now. That's an additional 30 some odd games of him meshing and molding with RJ, with Randall, with Mitch, with Obi, players that can benefit from him being out there on the court. Because right now we don't have a long-term option at point guard. We've got some stop gaps. We've got some filler and Alfred and Derrick Rose, who I guess now is stepping into a mentor type role. But I think
Yeah.
if we're looking long-term and we want to get a benefit from a young player that's going to help make us better when we're doing this playoff push, I think now would be a great time to go out there and get Lonzo, as long as the deal's reasonable. As long as the deal's reasonable.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. You can hear me?
Oh yeah, all right, cool. Now yeah, no, I mean that's fair. It makes sense. I guess I mean it all comes down to what the Knicks are willing to give up. Because I mean, what's good about Frank Ntilikina playing recently is the fact that he has been playing good. So hopefully his trade value sparked. Hopefully, like teams now have a slight interest, especially after the last game where he hit like 5 or 6 threes. I mean, hopefully we have enough to trade, in Frank and in Kevin Knox without having to give up any draft picks that are, any first round picks at least. But if we can trade some players that we don't use for like Lonzo, then I'm here for it. And if, like we said, if we can package it and get Lonzo and like a JJ Redick or a Jackson Hayes, like it works. But I mean, and I'm not even gonna say, oh, but we know how the Knicks normally are, because you know what? We don't know how they are. They're different this year. Like clearly everything about the organization. Leon Rose came in, made decisions. So we just gotta wait and see what we do within these next 5 days, 6 days. 5?
Yeah.
5.
Yeah, 5. Yeah, the Knicks. I like the fact that we're in this spot. We're in a spot where it's not automatically the Knicks are looking to sell. Because usually year after year, you get to this position and it's like the Knicks are looking to either get draft picks or acquire expiring deals, something like that, where we're not actively in the trading market to get better. We're just in the trading market to brighten our future. And I think now I'd be okay with giving up certain pieces as long as it's somebody that is going to be with us long term. We're not at that point yet where we're going out and trying to bring in rentals. I think once we get to that point, it'll be a great time in the Knicks fan universe, because that means we're legitimate competitors and we're pushing, trying to win a championship. So it's going to be baby steps. The last few years, it was more so trying to get draft capital, trying to free up space. And now we're going to be, or I'm hoping we're just going to be smart and try to make small moves here or there just to build up this roster as we get better.
No, absolutely. I mean, we're already on track. We're finally seeing the fruits of our labor after the past, I don't know how many years of rebuild. This is the first trade deadline where it's like you said, like we're not giving up all the people that we just signed in the offseason. We're like, all right, listen, we are contenders. Let's just get better from here. I see a lot of people in the comments talking about Kawhi and if he decides to leave. I mean, if Kawhi decided to leave, there's no way he's coming to the Knicks. Like we talked on the last show, Tom Thibodeau will play Kawhi every game, and Kawhi is not with it. So there's no way Kawhi is joining a Tom Thibodeau team.
I see Frank is over there trying to trade himself, Knox, and a 2023 Dallas pick for Lonzo and JJ.
Frank Knox 2020. Oh, I would be here for that. Like that is the ideal. As long as the 2023 pick is a second round. If it's a first, it's quiet.
Well, no, we got the 2 firsts from Dallas for KP. So we got a 2021 and a 2023 first round pick. So he's going to give up the 2023 first for Lonzo. And he's also going to give up Frank and Knox. Yeah, that is kind of steep. Especially since JJ is going to be one of those rental type players.
Yeah, he's only on a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. I mean, I think if Frank is putting us in a weird position, because he's off a few games where he scored no points, and then he has the explosion, and now we're sitting. It's like, okay, what is Frank's legitimate value? It's real hard to gauge his value, because you're gonna see other teams. They're gonna be like, well, take notice of this stretch of games where he was not playing well at all. And we're only going to have that, about 2 or 3 games where we've seen sparks from Frank to try to, counter our offers. And I think Frank is valuable to a playoff team, to a contender. It's just what
Yeah.
is that contender going to give us to really make us or benefit us this year moving forward?
Yeah. And shout out to Samson, who also said that's way too much for Lonzo and JJ. Hell no. Because that's way too big of, I mean, unless they want to throw, like we said, unless they throw in Jackson Hayes in there as well, then maybe potentially, but I mean, that's way too much. And just everyone who's watching, we got 56 watching right now. Just make sure you spam in that like button. Let me see. Frank said, Infinite, you do realize Ball is a restricted free agent. No, yeah, I do realize that he's a restricted free agent. But still, it goes down to as far as the contracts go. So because if he does get traded to the Clippers, if we still meet with him and offer him a decent sized deal that the Clippers can't match, he's ours anyway. We know that the Clippers, if there's one thing the Clippers don't have, it's cap room.
They said Cornerstone Kev is in the house. I wonder if that's the actual Cornerstone Kev user, because there was a Cornerstone Kev on Knicks at Night, or if they're calling Kevin Knox Cornerstone Kev.
Frank staying? Yo, Frank better not stay.
You don't like Frank Nitty? You don't think if so you wouldn't re-sign Frank Ntilikina at the end of the season if it's for a reasonable deal, like something similar to what he's on now, like 5-6 mil, maybe give him a little. I don't know if he'll take a pay cut.
No, like I just said earlier on this call, I am not gonna sit here and focus on the one game he did good and ignore the 100 games he played terribly. Like we're already stuck with players like Elfrid Payton. We're already stuck. We're stuck with guards that we don't really use or need. I'm not gonna be stuck with Frank Ntilikina as well. If this last game boosted his trade value in any way, let's explore that. Let's see what's out there, especially if we're focused on getting Lonzo, because I'll be fine with us having Lonzo and Quickly and then having D Rose as the mentor or whatever the case may be, and no other point guards.
Well, I mean, next season we won't have Elfrid though, because next season he'll be off. So fingers crossed. You never know, right? Because I thought Scott Perry wasn't going to be here next season, but if the Knicks continue to play as well as they've been playing, Scott Perry might get an extension. Who knows? So if Scott Perry stays, all his flunkies might stay, and Elfrid Payton's one of them. Elfrid Payton is serviceable as a backup point guard, but I wouldn't want him as our backup point guard. I'm sure he can help out elsewhere in the league.
Yeah, somewhere else. But we said this last year. We was like, oh well, Elfrid Payton's contract is up. It's not like the Knicks are going to re-sign him. And here we are. And here we are again. So that's why I'm like, fingers crossed on that one, man.
Man. Also, Inf, can I tell the chat a story real quick?
Oh yeah, by all means.
Yeah, so chat, I had a crazy day today. Inf and I are trying to go to the Pistons. No, not Pistons. The Wizards game. Yeah, I'm losing my mind. We're trying to go to the Wizards game on Tuesday. And one of the conditions of going to the Knicks game is you have to get a negative Rona test within the 3 days before the game?
Yeah.
So I went to go get mine today. And while I was in there, I bumped into Anthony Donahue. I was like, oh, snap. I was like, so, I reached out to him. I said, what's up? How's everything? We had a nice conversation, and he said he'd be willing to come and chop it up on the channel. So that'll be in the works. I don't know when. We just, communicated today, but I just wanted to, let you guys know that fun little story I had today as we try to get ready for the Knicks game.
Word. Hoping to see Julius Randle drop a triple-double on Westbrook. Word too.
Facts. Brickbrook. People still don't know I call him Brickbrook, but I don't know. He's playing decent now. But
he is. Like I lose. Yeah, like I want to see the Wizards do good, but miss the playoffs.
I don't care what the Wizards do. I just want us to beat them. What they do after that is irrelevant to me. I'm lying because I got like 3 fantasy players on that team. I got Rui, I got Danny Avdija, and I think that's it. I just got those two. Bro, I still can't believe I was able to finesse 5 first-round picks in my fantasy league.
No, yeah, you wildin'. But wow, a lot of the comments are fans of Frank. Even
well,
this year's
Frank plays good defense.
Frank has a role in the Knicks. No Eford Payton, no Rivers, no Burks. Frank is on the second unit with IQ and Rose. I mean, well, Frank really wasn't playing when Rose was healthy, though. So I wouldn't go.
Well, yeah, if we can go and get like Alonzo, then we can put Lonzo in at the starter, and then we would still have Derrick Rose and Emmanuel Quickly with the second unit, because I like that team as a second. I like that grouping as a second unit, even though I know originally I wanted IQ to start. But if we can get another option to start at point guard outside of Peyton, I'd be willing to leave IQ still in that second unit, because when we had to elevate IQ to the starting lineup, that second unit is like, all right, Tibbs, we understand why you didn't want to start IQ. It's not because of IQ, it's because what are we going to have left, really in terms of scoring in the second unit.
But it's crazy to think, because Lonzo, with the way that he's shooting right now, imagine him and Quickly on the floor together. Like, you got to play both of those guards mad close, because they can both shoot. A lot of people in the chat are also saying, like, Young saying X, and also Sincere the Genius said, we need a backup power forward. We don't. What we need to do is develop Obi Toppin. We need to get him in position. We need to teach him how to play the position. But if Obi can develop into a high draft pick as he was, then we don't need a backup power forward. We just need to develop who we have. Because if Obi can become even 1/10 of 1% of what we thought he was going to be, then that'll make this team better. It'll give Julius Randle a break at times.
Facts. I think people might be mad at me too, because in my last, well, not my last, and one that's supposed to be going up tomorrow, I did another realistic rebuild. This time it was 4 teams, and I had to trade Obi in the deal. So I'll see what people say when I drop it tomorrow. They might bash me, but I don't know.
I know Samson ain't gonna bash you. He just said he already lost hope. Samson, he said he lost hope in Obi already.
Oh, well, Samson, I got a trade for you tomorrow. I'll be dropping it. I'm not sure what time I got it. Once we get off here, I'm gonna have to go edit it up. But I shot it before I had to go run and go do the Rona test. Obi.
Frank Matos, yes. Lonzo would develop Obi. Like, that's what we need.
We like Derrick Rose came in saying he was going to try to look for Obi, but you don't really see them together too. Well, you see them often, but you don't really see them trying to run plays or run things for Obi to kind of succeed. Obi is kind of like on the side, and if the ball gets to him, then hey, it gets to him. But they don't feature him in anything. And it's not like he's that type of player right now that's going to be operating outside the flow of the offense and still find ways to contribute. So,
yeah, that's something that he needs to develop. And one thing I wanted to bring up is, remember one of the people that we drafted, Miles Powell. Yo, he is killing in the G League. Like, why have we not called him up yet?
Because they took him from us. I forgot who took. I think the Bucks took him. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
He is killing. Like, he is everything that your man came in the channel and said he was gonna be. Like, he's shooting, he's breaking down defense, he's getting to the, like, offensively, he is it.
I just got to disown CJ, your man's like, we not all in the same Facebook group.
I'm not even gonna lie, I couldn't remember his name, and I didn't want to say something that wasn't his name, so I just said your man's.
That's funny. Oh, but yeah, he's out there, he's doing this thing. We should have called him up. I mean, we should have kept him with the team, you know? He's not really doing anything but cheerleading. I mean, whatever. Yeah. They can't get them all right, you know. You miss some, you know, as long as they hit way more than they miss on some of these decisions. Let's see what the chat has to say.
One question is, so do you think something's going to happen at the trade deadline?
Nothing big. I don't think anything large is going to happen at the trade deadline, but they need to make some kind of moves. Get another big on this team, some depth at 3, because I think Reggie Bullock, he's been playing well recently, but we can definitely upgrade there. Lonzo Ball, I don't know if they'll do a Lonzo Ball before the trade deadline. I don't think it would be the best decision to do a Lonzo Ball deal during the deadline, especially with the Pelicans, because what's his name? What's the GM from the Cavs that went over there? I forgot his name.
David Griffin.
Griffin, yeah, he's another finesse guard. Him and Presti, those are both finesse guards over there. So I'd be wary having Leon Rose and Scott Perry try to negotiate a deal with them, because he'll get the best bang for his buck. So maybe it may be more beneficial for us to just wait till the free agency. But I'm just excited to see what Lonzo could do with this team, And that's why you shouldn't make decisions off emotions. And that's probably why I'm not in the front office.
No, definitely. I'm hoping that something happens by the trade deadline, even if it's not like an actual trade. I'm hoping like we see some buyouts happen. Because one report that I was noticing was if Andre Drummond were to secure a buyout, then the Knicks would go for him, which that made me happy, because it's like, all right, good. We're not going to trade for him, which we already showed was incredibly stupid because the money wouldn't fit. If he can just get a buyout and then come to the Knicks, then we're good. We could waive Taj Gibson. We could, bench Noel. I feel like that would work out for us.
So
no panic.
So say that one more time. Who's starting between Drummond and Mitch? You said you'd bench Noel.
Oh, yeah, bench Noel.
And then Mitch off the bench?
Yeah.
You don't think Mitch might get upset about that?
I don't care if he do. Man, what's he gonna do? He's under contract. We picked up his option. He's ours next season too. So if he starts throwing a fit, guess who's getting traded? Guess who's getting traded?
See, chat, I'm the good cop, Inf is the bad cop. I'm over here trying to coddle the players, and Inf is like, nah, you gotta get it together.
Because at the end of the day, like, he needs to realize that it's not about him. Like, if you lose your starting spot, you're still getting paid as much as you were, regardless if you start or not. Your team is getting better. Like, you should be happy.
Yep.
But not everybody.
You're not wrong there. You're not wrong there. I think one thing with a lot of players, though, with a player like Mitch, who's not really making the big bucks. I mean, he's making the big bucks if you're looking like at a regular job, like we have 9 to 5s. But if you're looking at it in terms of the NBA, he's not really making crazy money. And him being a starter and having the most minutes to kind of prove himself would be beneficial to him when he hits free agency. So he'll probably get upset, one, because he's going to lose his starting spot, and two, it may affect negatively his long-term earning capabilities.
Potentially. I mean, but his lack of development can also impact that as well.
But, and then to counter that, he has to be on the court in order to develop, no? That's why we're so mad at Tip. No, that's why we're mad at Tips for not letting Knox go out there on the court and play, because he has to develop. We have to find out what he is, and we also have to showcase his talent to trade him. So Mitch is going to want to get on the court to develop.
No, I agree with that. We do have to showcase his talent and then it seems like everyone in the chat is saying Drummond is not that guy. Drummond's no good for the team. Get in the way of Brandon and RJ. I mean, yeah, we do need a big who can stretch the floor, but I mean, defense, like y'all were talking about Mitchell Robinson's defensive presence. His presence is nothing compared to an Andre Drummond. Like, and just imagine what a coach like Thibodeau can do with Andre Drummond as our starting center. Like, if we're already number one defense in the league, like we will exceed that. We'll be number, I don't know, whatever's better than one.
I think Drummond helps us out more offensively. Like, it would be a nice mix to have, a switch up between Drummond and between Mitch, because they will both give you two different things. You'd have Mitch being more so the defensive anchor, and then you'd have Drummond, who could come in, grab a whole bunch of rebounds, and feast down there in the paint offensively. But when it comes, I'm not the biggest fan of Drummond, even though I'm gonna be a hypocrite, and I'm technically being a hypocrite because in the rebuild video I brought Drummond in. But like, in my own personal opinion, I don't think Drummond the best fit. I did, a lot of people have mentioned Miles Turner because Miles Turner can shoot a little bit. And just to give you guys a little hint, because you guys are staying with us and supporting the channel, Miles Turner will be one of the players that I'm trading for in the realistic rebuild that should be dropping tomorrow. So you guys stay tuned for that. Now, Inf, what do you feel about Miles Turner?
Well, also remember the report that I sent you earlier in the week. The Knicks have reached out to the Pacers in regards to trading for Miles Turner.
Mm-hmm.
I like it because Miles Turner, he's a young center. He can stretch the floor much more than Robinson can at this time. He's decent defensively. He stays on his feet. You don't see him like making silly fouls. He doesn't get fouled out of games. It wouldn't be a bad pickup. It just depends on like what we're giving up. Like if we pick these players up because we're getting rid of Taj, or if we're trading Noel, then it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, everybody says Miles Turner he adds a shooting touch and things of that nature, but his shooting, if you look at his stats, the last 3 seasons they've regressed. I think he was shooting 38 2 seasons ago. He was shooting 34 last season, and then this season he's shooting like 31. So, I mean, I hear people's arguments saying Miles Turner helps, kind of give you a shooting presence, but I don't see it too much. I would though take Turner over Drummond, but the only way I do a Turner move is if I can still keep Mitch, and then I don't know if that's realistic. Even though I was able to do it in the draft in the realistic rebuild.
And then I see Dritmore and JG saying we don't need bigs. We need but we already addressed the point guard spot. Lonzo is the answer. It's just up to the Knicks on whether or not they get him. Mm-hmm. This is just us talking about like if the Lonzo deal was already done, like we found a way to get Lonzo. What else do we need to really solidify our spot?
And there is one move for a point guard that might be I won't say under the radar, but he could help, and he's not a big fish, I guess. But I'd be like Ricky Rubio. They said Ricky Rubio could be available.
But I look at Ricky Rubio the same way I look at Elfrid Payton, like a point guard who can't shoot. That's what we don't need. We already have a ton of players who can't shoot, so for a point guard to not be able to shoot like Rubio.
The thing is, but Rubio's much better, I think, as a facilitator. And
no,
I think
for sure he is.
Yeah, and I think some of the players on our team, like a Obi, like a Mitchell Robinson, they'd benefit more playing with Ricky Rubio as opposed to playing with an Elfrid Payton.
No, yeah, I mean, obviously, just because Elfrid Payton has tunnel vision for Randall and Rubio, like he gets literally everyone involved if he's allowed to play his own game. But again, it's not go.
I'm my fault. I was just saying I low key been slacking. I ain't shout out the chat in a minute. Let me just shout out to everybody that's pulling up and supporting. Shout out to Samson. You've been here for a minute. Thank you for supporting the chat, supporting the live stream. Sincere, JG, Bodega Wi-Fi, thank you for pulling up. You're a regular over there at Knicks at Night. I'll probably see you when we jump off. We can probably talk in the chat later on. Stacy Hickman, thank you for pulling up. She's saying Drummond don't block shots like Mitch. That's a fact. Milton, thank you for pulling up. Cancel that. We don't need him. Thesis Thomas, Dripmore, Robert Parr, regular. Thank you for pulling up as well. M Toast Vids, once again, that's one of my homies. Used to work with him. He's got his channel. You can check that out. Some good Knicks content. Brooklyn Contreras, shout out to you. I kind of we got caught up in the conversation. I didn't want to disregard the chat. My bad, bro. Go ahead and finish your point. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I mean, I can't even recall. Oh, Rubio. Oh yeah, Rubio's like he's much better than Payton. It's just as far as teams being able to guard us offensive, like on the defensive end. With us having a point guard that can't shoot, it's once again easier for them to just play the zone and do, like we've seen game after game when teams go into the zone and we don't have like quickly on the floors, or RJ's not having one of those games where he's knocking down threes. It's hard, like it's rough for us. So,
but I think Rubio's basketball IQ is a lot better. Remember, Rubio's been playing ball professionally since he was like 12. So
yeah. He's old now.
We were in school, and Rubio was literally in basketball school. So Rubio's built for this. Rubio got his PhD in basketball. So I'm pretty sure he'll be able to attack the zone a lot better than Alfred Payton.
Not
Even though
yet.
he can't shoot.
Hopefully. And shout out Aneldi, 25. Haven't seen him in a minute.
Nobody thank you for pulling up.
And Robert Parr, yeah, that solid English class, man. I'm gonna put the link in it
Wait.
after
If I got to do a big apology, Stacy Hickman, my fault. It's a he. I apologize. I had to make that known. I hate to get people's names wrong like that. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying I'm gonna put the link for the sign language class in the chat. Well, yeah, that's all the last week's with the audio issues.
But audio should be good now, right? It took us a little longer than expected to get everything running. Even when I thought things were running, things still were kind of going haywire. So as long as we're able to push through, it's all good.
Word, son. I mean, what I'm trying to think of, like, what other trade rumor that I hear regarding the Knicks. I saw in the comment they mentioned John Collins, but I haven't seen any more traction from that or with Cam Reddish, which was another.
Cam Reddish is a little scary because did you see he had a procedure? He's out even longer than expected. I was going to try to do a trade for him, but I'm like, it's hard for me to come on and be like, yeah, we should move Kevin Knox for this player. Meanwhile, he's nursing. He had a non-surgical procedure on his Achilles.
And you know me, when it comes to Achilles, it's quiet. Like, I don't even care if you stretch your Achilles too much. Like, nah, I don't need you. I mean, and what pieces who do we not want to see on our team at trade deadline?
Who do we not want to see?
Yeah,
high-priced target. You're making too much money. You gotta go.
No, absolutely. Like, I don't want to see. I don't like. God forbid. I don't want to see us trade for like a Zach LaVine.
You don't?
No, because if we trade for a Zach LaVine, one, there's no way we trade for Zach LaVine without giving up multiple draft picks. So we're giving up our future that we feel right now, we feel safe and secure because we have all this stuff. We'd be giving all of it up for Zach LaVine. And getting Zach LaVine means no more Lonzo Ball. Like, that's out of the question. And who knows what other key pieces we'd have to give up. Obviously, RJ and Randall is untouchable, but I don't know. So I don't want to see a Zach LaVine. I really don't.
Yeah, I'm with you too, bro. I don't want to see any of those big moves. I've been saying it time and time again. We're good with what we have. We can do a little move that doesn't add too much salary cap or doesn't take away too much of our salary cap. But I think right now we should be focusing on getting IQ acclimated to being a NBA point guard. We should get Julius Randle and RJ acclimated to being the one and the two of this team moving forward. And then in the offseason, if we have the ability to make a major shakeup, that's when we can do that. But I'm right in line with you, bro. I don't think we should be doing anything crazy. Also, just to go to the chat, Mike Asperas is saying Galladay to the Giants. Facts. I'm going to make a video on it. I should have made the video earlier, but I got caught up at work, and I didn't want to make a Giants video in the Knicks state of mind time slot. That'd have been disrespectful.
And Toast Vids, we don't want to see Bullock, Burks, or Efred. Exactly. Thank you. I don't want to see none of those names either. Unfortunately, like we've mentioned, Efred is on a no trade clause, so we can't do nothing with that. But we're get Burks out of here, get Bullock out of here. Burks has been playing awful basketball. And the games that we've lost that were close ones, he had a lot to do with it. Especially that 76ers game. He was getting me so upset. Just making a horrible play. Like, there's no reason why we lost. We should have lost that game. Like, Embiid was out. He was out. Like, so yeah, that was.
This should be the time where we're gaining ground on them, trying to get like a higher seed.
Like, I swear, if we lose tomorrow, like, I was so hyped when you mentioned that D Rose might be back, but now that I know that he's not,
yeah, it
because
definitely sucks.
It's not like we're gonna need Mitch because Embiid is out. Like, the biggest issue on that team that Mitch would have had to deal with, he's not there. So I don't know, man. I don't know, but there's no reason why we should lose tomorrow.
Yeah, well, if we get Mitchell Robinson back, yes, there's no reason. We've added a lot of talent in Mitch, there really shouldn't be a reason we should lose. But
Yeah.
JG is saying, what do y'all think about Gary Harris? Denver not really using him much. I like Gary Harris. What's his contract like? Let me look up what his contract like before.
I
I
think
think he has a couple more years on his deal.
yeah, he signed a 4-year, $80 million, which is a lot
Yeah,
of money.
yeah.
So I don't know. I
Is
think he got 2 more years on it, but
yeah. I don't know.
that's a lot. That's like 20 mil.
Yeah, that contract alone, because I don't know if he's giving us enough production. Because Julius Randle's not making 20 mil a year.
Yeah. So I mean, he's expensive. Reggie Jackson, I'm not a fan of him. I'm not a
I'm not
fan
a
of
fan of
him.
Reggie either.
Lou Will, yeah, I mean that's Lou Will. Like he'll give you exactly what you need from him, which is offense.
He's got
Um,
one more year, Gary Harris. One more year, which would be
so,
next year at exactly 20 mil, 20.4.
yeah, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that because he's a inconsistent player too. Like, which is why Denver doesn't use him as much. I don't know. In case you didn't read the article,
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't do Reggie or Lou. I mean, it
yeah,
would be cool for IQ if we got Lou, because then IQ would
yeah,
have his idol on his team. That
yeah,
would be dope.
yeah. I don't know what Lou Will's contract is like. But look, only cost us 4 mil. Well, that's 4 mil. I'd rather just keep in the bank. Yeah. Bullock almost like for those who saw the last game, Bullock almost threw that game away for us. He almost like he ended up getting um the defining steal to seal the game, but he almost lost that game for us. So um would you do Peyton IQ Knox for Levine? No. No, Levine just makes
Peyton, no, I'm not giving up IQ for. I'm not giving up IQ.
money.
Period. I don't know
Yeah.
what IQ ceiling is. Once I can make a determination of what I think IQ ceiling is, then I can talk about maybe a deal that could include him. But no, I need to know what IQ is going to be, because I know IQ's floor right now is a potential 6-man of the year candidate if he continues to play like he's playing now. But
Yep.
if his ceiling could be a legitimate everyday, not well every day, when it's not baseball, if he could be a legitimate starter, I'm with it. I'm not going to include him in any kind of deal.
No, absolutely not. Like I feel like it should be IQ, RJ, and Randall. We're not touching those. Like they're staying with us for now.
Facts,
Let me
facts.
see.
Freezy thinks we're bugging about Burks and Bullock.
Come on now. We've said time and time again that Bullock should not even be a starter. And we've never gotten any pushback from that. Everyone has always agreed. Even early in the chat, they
He's
were
played
saying
well recently. It's hard to.
you can't focus on the hype. Like I said, you need to see it over a span of games. Like the first game that we won when Mitch Robinson was out, I didn't say nothing about the fact that we didn't need Mitch Robinson. I didn't say nothing because it was just one game that we won. But then we started winning, and we won over a couple of games. And I'm just like, all right, now I can say that we don't necessarily need Mitch because we're winning without him. I'm not gonna look at one good game and say, all right, no, we need Bullock. He hit 5 threes yesterday, like he's doing his thing. No. No, I'm just not. It needs to happen over the span. Like that same reason why I'm not on the Austin Rivers bandwagon. He won one game for us. The next time he didn't miss a shot in the first half, and then he ended the game with 20 points, which is exactly what he had at half. I mean, we keep hype for one game for any player.
What you call it? How We Move Next TV. Thank you for supporting the live stream. IQ just got to learn how to run the offense better rather than running the court and looking for his shots.
Yeah.
If he can develop that, that would be great. But if he's just gonna be off ball for us and just be that killer off the bench or be that spark plug, I'd be fine with that too. Remember, we only invested a late first round pick in him, so he does his expectations to me aren't that high. I think he's already exceeding all my expectations. Because remember when we had CJ on, like we didn't really know what we were gonna get from him. Yeah. So what he's provided now, I think, is above and beyond what I could have hoped for. So him doing what he's doing now, if he can continue to develop and get better at that, I'd be fine with that too.
No, yeah, I mean, he's doing something good when he's a rookie who wasn't a lottery pick, and Tibbs is playing him 20 to 25 minutes because Tibbs don't play rookies no matter what. So,
Well, he's playing him now like that more so because of the lack of guards we have with Rose and Peyton out. Because when those two come back, he'll have his games where he'll only play him like 15 minutes. We'll get back to those days.
but before we even traded for Rose, remember we saw Quickly's minutes steady rising.
They fluctuate. You'll see 25 here, 29 here, then you'll see something crazy like 14. Like what? Why is he only playing 14 minutes, bro?
Yeah, I mean, Tibbs is weird, but all in all, though, his minutes is much different from any other rookie that we've seen with Tibbs. Definitely more different.
Facts. DJ the Great is asking, who do you want to get before the trade deadline? If I think we kind of came to a consensus, right? It was going to be Lonzo if we were going to make a larger move.
It's either Lonzo or it's nothing. It's Lonzo or it's a non-expensive wing player. Like I said, if we can add a JJ Redick, I feel like that would just give us the push that we need as far as the playoff goes.
Yeah, I seen some other where we could potentially go after, I think what his name, Kyle Anderson over in Memphis. He should be available.
He's a
3, he can play 4. Yeah, he's averaging, I think, 37% from 3. He's also a player that can facilitate. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of assists, but he's not running the offense over in Memphis. 3 assists from his position. He's playing the 3. Sometimes the 4 is pretty decent. Oh, they're also mentioning, Manny mentioned Terrence Ross. That's another player.
Yeah, I think he's injured right now, though. I think something happened. He's
day to day, but I think that might just be them holding him out to trade him. And his contract's nice too. I tried to do a rebuild trade for him, but I just couldn't get the money to work. And his salary decreases. I think it's 13 this year. It'll be like 12, and it'll be 11 in the last year of his deal.
Yeah. But no, I mean, as long as we can guard, like if we can trade for just a small trade for like a spot up shooter, I feel like that would be beneficial. Like somebody who can consistently knock down the 3. Harrison Barnes, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I was trying to do a Harrison Barnes deal, but if I were to make a deal with the Kings, I'd probably go after Buddy Hield first before Harrison Barnes.
Even though he's having like a little shooting slump, I'd rather have Buddy Hield on our team than Harrison Barnes. I'd rather trust him
wild out, bro.
Shots than. Lonzo's out. Yeah, so hopefully
maybe a trade is coming. Yeah,
fingers crossed. Us.
I tried to wild out. I tried to get Bagley and Buddy Hield from the Kings.
Apparently, the Kings have an issue with Bagley. Like they want to trade. Apparently, there's something.
He broke his hand though. Same fourth. Yeah, he broke the same bone. 4th metacarpal. Thanks for letting us know that Lonzo's out, DJ the Great.
Yeah. Heck Brizo said, who are we trading to make these trades? Honestly, like I'm fine with trading Frank Ntilikina, Reggie Bullock, Eric Burks, Austin Rivers, any plays, Knox for sure. Any of these plays that we just don't use. Like we have them on our team, but they get no minutes. They're perfectly healthy. They just get no minutes, and it's probably because maybe the system or the fact that Tibbs plays a very strict rotation and they can do better somewhere else. But it would make sense. It would make no sense to keep a player like Knox, who's going to eventually be a free agent, and we're not utilizing him in any way. I would trade these players that still have some dark horse value.
Yep. Maybe somebody else can kind of work with them and see if they can revive their careers.
Yeah. I mean, because if I'm a team out there and I don't know anything about Knox, I'll probably take a chance on him. But if I'm me, I want him to go.
We got 88 in chat, 41 likes. Can y'all just do me a solid real quick? Smash that like button for me. Do me a solid, me and Inf. Freezy says you hardcore, bro.
Lauren, I'm really not. I'm just trying to be as honest to get our team. I mean, because look at the competition we're going against. Like, we're going against some cheat code teams. And I'm not even talking about that. So, in order for us to at least compete, there's certain things we got to do, and we got to make these tough decisions. We got to, like, all right, Knox. I feel like we gave Knox everything. We gave him 4 years. We hired his own personal coach that he grew up with, and we've seen
grew up with it a stretch.
He grew up with, like, that. That's his coach. Like, if you had a coach personally train you for 4 years on your own, not including the NBA, that you grew up with him. We brought him in. Like, we've seen no improvement. We have to cut the cord. Like, we need to, like, look at what 76ers did with Markelle Fultz. Like, he was drafted #1 overall, and they eventually felt like they just had to cut it. And now he's doing better on the Magic. Granted, he's injured right now, which, I mean, that's heartbreaking. But
yeah, I'm glad for the both of them. They got their money and then they got hurt, because it's a real sad case when they get hurt before they get their money.
Nah,
at least they can provide for their family, and then they got a decent enough vacation where they got to work back from.
Nah, yeah.
But I mean,
and he was playing good. No, I was just saying, like, he was playing real good too.
Yeah, with Knox, I think Knox could be a piece for us. It's just, if we're not going to play him, what's the point of having him sit down there when we can move him for a piece that's going to help us as we try to make this playoff push? You can't tell me we want to be a playoff team and we want to try to get to the playoffs, and then you have Kevin Knox, who could contribute, who's young, and who we have to figure out what he is, and you're not going to at least move him for a piece that, not saying a rental, but move him for a piece that can help us now and the next, 2 or 3 years down the road. I don't get it. For me, it don't make any sense.
No, I mean, it seems like the agrees with you as far as Knox goes. But first, somebody said Knox got 11 minutes, got minutes for about 11 games, and was averaging 10. Nah, the only time Knox was averaging points is when he was averaging 8 points a game. There's no stretch in the world where he was averaging more than 5. Trust me, we looked it up. I've read the stats. Knox, I don't know, man. I
like Knox, but because when you look at Knox and what he can do at the 3 position, and even me coming into the season, I thought he could play a little bit at the 4, somewhat like we see with Jason Tatum and even Brandon Ingram down in New Orleans playing some of the 4. I thought that's a way we could have used Kevin Knox, but he's not even. They just won't allow him to go on the court and show us what he has. And it makes me want to be like, yo, can you at least invite me to practice so I can see what's going on? Because if I come to practice and he looks terrible, then I can go home, watch the game, and I can say, that's why he's not playing. I understand. But when he's in the game, it's, he's not doing a lot, but he's also not doing anything where I'm saying, yo, you got to get him out the game. Like, there's moments where you have veterans on this team and you're like, yo, you got to get him out the game. You got to get him out the game, Tibbs. Mm-hmm. And I don't really have moments like that with Knox, even though he's only there for short spurts. So I think we should allow Knox to play a little bit more. And if we're not, at least let's bring in some pieces to help us now. Because there are some holes, not some, there are a lot of holes on this roster that still need to be addressed. And if Kevin Knox isn't going to address some of those deficiencies on the roster, let's bring in somebody who can. But let's make sure it's not something that jeopardizes our long-term health.
No, I mean, I agree. And I mean, listen, I said it in the beginning of the season. I said it in the middle of the season. Like, I don't think Knox, Knox is dirt, but I feel like Knox potentially has the most, like, the best skill set out of any Knicks player on our team right now. Like, he has all the tools he needs to be the best Knick this season. He just utilizes none of them. He can shoot, he can dribble a little bit, he can move, he's quick, he can drive to the basket, he's tall, athletic. Like, he has all the tools. He has everything he needs to be the Knicks' best player. He just not. He's dirt. Like, I don't, like, that's not me, that's him. That's all him not doing what he's supposed to do. He's never on the floor, and I'm watching him, and I'm impressed with something he's doing. He'll hit a corner 3 here and there to remind us that, like, he's can shoot, but he has all these tools to be a lot more than what he currently is, and he's not. And that's on him.
I hear you on that one. Anudi is saying, I bet Knox be on his phone catching Pokemon during practice.
I'm not surprised, man.
What you call it? I'm definitely getting that new Switch when it come out, that Pro, that HD.
Nah, yeah. I mean, I already got. I got mine, so I'm good.
That open world Pokemon game look fire. I haven't bought Pokemon since Silver, and I'm about to be on that. Haven't bought Pokemon after Silver went all downhill.
No, you bug. Knox just don't play with that dog mentality like he did in high school. Nah, I mean, I agree with that because even in Knox's rookie interview, he was just talking about not being interested in practices or something like that. Like he's AI. Like you're not AI. You're not.
That's what Knox said for real. He wasn't interested in practices.
Yeah, like there was like how like something along the lines like how do you spend your time and all that stuff, and while other players like, oh, I spend my time like focusing on this and focusing on that kind of player and learning this person's game and prepping for games, blah blah. He was talking about, oh, I spend my time just chilling, playing Fortnite, and like that's all he was just talking about video games and stuff, like nothing to do with no basketball at all. I'm like, yo, this kid is not it. Like his mentality is off.
Facts. You would have thought like his time is almost up. You would think he'd like get it together. Like damn,
Yeah.
I'm in New York, the city of bright lights. Let me at least take the most advantage of this situation.
Knox don't. Let me see. Yeah, exactly. Drebo. I don't know. He said Knox don't want it. He's not hungry anymore. He's just one of those players that got the bag and stopped loving the game. Yeah, he just. So
he's gonna learn though. A rookie contract ain't really the bag. That ain't gonna last you as long, especially once you're paying them kind of taxes in New York. God bless him.
So anytime you hear me hating on Knox, it's because I feel he has the potential to be the best, and he's just not. He's dirt. So that's why I'm fine with trading him somewhere else. Let him try to flourish elsewhere.
Snap. Inf is saying in the chat hit 100. Is that correct? Do the numbers reflect that? Oh, yeah. Well, we just dipped below it, but hey, that was the first time we hit 100 ever.
Wow! Oh, celebrate! I'm gonna celebrate with.
Well, after we get off, I gotta get some food. Well, and I'm gonna get a drink. We could toast. Do a little virtual toast. That's dope. Never hit 100 before. Yeah, it's saying 102. Bodega Wi-Fi, his motor was always in question. Yeah, that's why we should have went I think that Bridges was in that draft. We could have went the Bridges route. We could have went Porter Jr. Like,
yeah, I wanted us to get Michael Porter Jr. And I know that there was those issues around his back and stuff, but come on, man, like that boy could shoot. Like he's a scorer.
I would just want to say shout out to 19 comment New York City 84. He's saying salute to you as well, bro. Thank you for pulling up.
Word. Thanks for all the love, all the appreciation. We finally made it. About to call my mom. I'm like, Mom, we had 100.
I ain't gonna lie, my mom do be texting me throughout the day. She's like, Marquise, look how this video did. I'm like, thank you, Ma. I appreciate it. You gotta come on the channel one day, Ma. She'd be like, oh no, with a little Jamaican accent.
See, that's love though. That's dope.
Facts.
Knox has a shot, but he needs a defensive coach to improve his defense. I mean, he got Tibbs. Like, it's crazy how almost everyone's defense has improved. RJ's has definitely improved. So has Randall's. Like, everyone on the team, you can see why we're the #1 defense. All of them stepped it up. Like, I'm telling you, I genuinely believe Knox is not paying attention in practice. He's not engaged, and it reflects in why he doesn't get play.
But see, what's crazy to me is if that's true, like why couldn't he just like, I won't say flip the switch, but you seeing that you're not playing, do you not love the game? Because like if I'm in that position, minutes get taken away from me, and I know it's because my work ethic needs to be adjusted, then I'm gonna make the adjustments so I can get out there and play the game that I love. I don't understand why he's cool with just sitting on the bench. Or at least it seems like he's not putting in the work. But it's hard. I don't want to really say that because we're not, like I said, we're not in practice. It's just, that's the only thing that would make sense to me. You're not putting in the work in. And if you're not putting in the work in, why aren't you? I need to know that answer.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it makes no sense. So that's why I'm fine with us trading him. Like, I'm tired of us all constantly talking about Knox and all this potential he has. And maybe if we do this, maybe if we get rid of him by Thursday, we'll be in a better place because of it.
Yeah, DJ the Great. We need that Summer League Knox back. We need that Knox that dropped 30 on the 76ers.
Word.
That had me. I remember that game. That's probably the only Kevin Knox moment I can remember, and just be like, yeah, I remember that.
And they saying Obi's falling in the same category. I don't think he is, because remember, we've been dealing with this kind of Knox for 4 years. Obi, we've been dealing with this for like.
Knox, this is the 3rd year. Knox got 1 more year for us to deal with it, and then he's out of here.
Oh no, he's out of here by Thursday. I'd put that on anything. We're trading Knox by Thursday. That's probably why Lonzo only playing. I'm telling you, Knox gonna be out there running with the young boys.
What you call it? Heck Breeze is saying Knox got no value. Who you getting for him? Ron Baker. William Mason is saying we could have gotten SGA. Yep, I think he was. What did he go? 17, I think. Or was that Porter who went? Porter went 14, I think.
Yeah.
Where does Shea Gilgeous go? If you remember where Shea Gilgeous, how you say that? Shea Gilgeous.
Gilgeous.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm messing up the first name. Shai Gilgeous.
Shai Gilgeous Alexander.
Gilgeous Alexander. There we go.
I mean, the only reason why I never look at things like that though is because like plays like Shai, like you didn't know he was gonna turn out to be what he is. Like anyone outside of the lottery, you just never know how they're gonna turn out to be. So
yeah, look at Giannis.
Exactly.
Giannis went 16.
No, Giannis. No, I think he was 14.
14? One of them. 14 or 16.
Oh, yeah,
I think Kawhi was 16, wasn't he? Somebody was 16.
He was 29.
Wow, Leonard, he was no way he was 29, was he?
Oh, was he 17? Oh, Shai went 11?
Okay. Yeah. One day I'm gonna review some of these like NBA drafts and do like a what could have.
What could have been. Nah, it's just gonna make me sad as a Knicks fan to see all the talent we passed the year.
Bro, it'll be brutal. We're gonna be like, we missed out on who? We missed out on what? Kawhi was 15. Yeah, I knew he was somewhere around there.
I don't know how to pronounce
Giannis
the name.
was 15. They said the Kawhi was 15, so they were both 15.
Got it. Did you see what Shia Lindra? But I'm not gonna. But she said even if we lose, or he or she said even if we.
Bawani.
Yeah. Said even if we lose the rest.
If I did good, Shalindra, let me know. I think I did good with that one.
Even if we lose the rest of the games for the season, I'll still be if we lose every game for the rest of the season, I will not be proud. This season will be a failure. We would end up like the 14th seed. I would not be proud of us.
It would be stressful to come on here every day and post videos if we just lost for the next 2 months. That'd be brutal.
I couldn't. I would lose all pride, all respect.
Anthony 212 was saying we passed on Spider. That was a Phil move. Spot on. Thank you. I got it good. See?
Nice. Imagine
I will use the Knicks to get max money. That's cool. As long as we ain't the one giving him the max money. If he wants to use this as a negotiating ploy and it doesn't mess up any of our other signings out there. But it's not really a major market. Most of the people are off, right? Giannis got re-signed. He was supposed to come off the books.
Yeah.
Who else is really out there? You know, it may be CP3 if he declines his player option, but who's paying CP3 40-something mil?
Hornets. They'll give anybody a max. They will. Once RJ is able to hold on defense, then you can bring Knox along. You see, it would be hard to develop Knox and RJ together because Knox's shot is better than RJ. It would cause issue for Tibbs. I don't think so. I feel like they play two completely different positions, so you can develop them both at once because they can actually be on the floor together. It's not
that one.
Tessius Thomas saying RJ and Knox can't be developed at the same time. Like
once RJ is able, yeah, I don't see why we could have developed them both together. We could develop them at the same time.
Yeah,
I think they both do. They both have different skill sets. RJ's more so a slasher, trying to get to the basket, and he's starting to develop his mid-range shot. He's starting to develop a three-point shot. So there's that. And then Knox, well, we don't really know what Knox is, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a catch and shoot 3-point shooter right now. Outside of that, it's really up in the air. So I think we just have to figure out what positions these players uh, need to be put in to succeed and start doing it. I don't think Tibbs is making the effort to really find out what these players can do and see if how he can incorporate that into his offense.
No, I agree. And then how we move next TV said if they make the playoffs and bumped early at next season, we might be in a good position to pick a superstar. Oh, never mind. Retracted. But yeah, like see if we end up making the playoffs and then we get like swept in the first round, then I would say I'm still proud of the Knicks because we finally made the playoffs. Like I ain't gonna be proud if we lose every game the rest of the season and miss the playoffs. Like
yeah, I hear you on that. I hear you on that one. But Inf, I'm gonna wrap it up here. But before we do, let's do a little wager, right?
A wager,
right?
All right.
What should we do? I'm trying to think. You think the Knicks are gonna win tomorrow?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Well, just for argument's sake, I'm saying we're gonna lose. If we win, right? If we win, because I'm picking they're gonna lose. So if we win, I gotta do the whole show tomorrow in my scrubs. And if you get it right, you gotta do the whole show in a suit.
Right, so if Knicks win, you scrubs. If Knicks lose, I'm in a whole suit. All right, I'm gonna be mad in the basement, but all right.
Well, you better go find a fan. You ain't gotta wear a tie.
No, all right, that's the bet. So let's go, Nick. Let us win this. You're gonna see tomorrow Quis and his scrubs.
Facts. Everybody, you're gonna see how Inf dresses up for work tomorrow. So thank you for joining the live stream. Thank you for supporting the channel. You guys had a lot of great comments. You guys helped drive this show, and it's greatly appreciated. We cracked 100 today as a major milestone. I think the closest we were before that was like 60 or 70. So to have this amount of support is just amazing. Inf, you have anything else you want to say before we get off?
No, just I appreciate y'all. Thanks for the constant support. Always so many familiar names. Thanks for coming back each time. Thanks for hitting that subscribe and that like. Appreciate y'all.
So yeah, once again, this is the Knicks State of Mind podcast. We go live weekends. We try to go live at 8 p.m. when the internet allows me. But if not, it's going to be somewhere in that 8 o'clock hour. So once again, I'm your host, Quis. That's my co-host, Inf. And we're out. I probably should have put the cursor closer to the live stream so I could have ended it. Now we still live stream chatting and I can't turn it off yet.